Barking. Example: barking cough. A harsh, loud cough that resembles the sound of a barking dog. Sentence: the child developed a barking cough after playing outside in the cold. Breath activated. Definition: activated by inhalation or breathing in. Example: the patient used a breath activated inhaler to deliver medication directly to their lungs. Expiratory. Definition: relating to the act of breathing out. Example: during an expiratory maneuver, the patient forcefully exhales air from their lungs. Hoarse. Hoarse voice. Definition: a rat or raspy voice often caused by irritation or inflammation of the vocal cords. Example: the singer lost her voice and developed hoarseness after a bad cold. Hollow. Hollow cough. Definition: a dry, unproductive cough that has a hollow sound. Example: the smoker developed a persistent hollow cough, a symptom of chronic respiratory problems. Inspiratory. Relating to the act of breathing in. Example: during an inspiratory hold maneuver, the patient holds their breath after inhaling deeply. Offensive. An unpleasant or foul smelling odor. Example: the patient's cough produced sputum with an offensive odor suggesting a possible infection. Productive. A cough that brings up mucus from the lungs. Example: the patient's productive cough helped clear mucus and relieve chest congestion. Purulent. Mucus from the lungs that is thick, yellow, or green, often indicating an infection. Example: the presence of purulent sputum prompts the doctor to prescribe antibiotics.
Tenacious. Thick, sticky mucus that is difficult to cough up. Example: tenacious sputum can make breathing difficult and requires additional treatment to clear. Tickly. Definition: a dry, irritating cough that feels like tickle in the throat. Example: the patient developed a tickly cough after inhaling dust particles. Bronchitis. Inflammation of the lining of the bronchial tubes, causing coughing and mucus production. Example: John was diagnosed with bronchitis after experiencing a persistent cough and chest tightness. Crackles. Abnormal lung sounds that resemble cracking or popping noises, often heard during breathing, indicative of fluid in the lungs. Example: the doctor listened for crackles in the patient's lungs using a stethoscope. Expectoration. The act of coughing up mucus from the airways. Example: the expectoration of green sputum suggests a bacterial infection. High. A whistling sound heard during breathing, often associated with narrowed airways. Example: the patient wheezed with a high-pitched tone, indicating a possible asthma exacerbation. Malaise. A general feeling of discomfort, weakness, and lack of energy. Example: the patient reported malaise, fatigue, and slight fever. MDI, breath activated matter dose inhaler, a device used to deliver medication directly into the lungs, activated by the patient's breath. Example: Sarah uses breath activated MDI to control her asthma symptoms. Sputum. Sputum is mucus that is coughed up from the lower airways. It is sometimes referred to as phlegm. Sputum can be clear, white, yellow, green, or even blue tinged, depending on the underlying condition. Example: the doctor examined the patient's sputum sample under a microscope. to identify any signs of infection.
Trend. A general tendency or direction of change. Example. The doctor monitored the trend of the patient's breathing rate and oxygen saturation. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.